Hey guys, it's Thunder here, and welcome to another episode of the Need for Speed Most Wanted Mod Showcase. And today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Usually I would have been doing the list in the kind of order that was requested, but this time around I'm going to be switching it up. I'm going to still be going with 3 cars per episode, but I'm going to let the Wheel Decide website to give me the 3 cars that I'm to be using for the particular episode. So I put all the remaining cars that were suggested to me in the wheel, and we're going to give it a spin and see just exactly what we will be requested to be doing. So, first up, let's give it a spin and see where we land. We've got, just by a nail, we got Viper Racing's pick of the SRT Viper GTS, which is right here. So we got the Viper first, so that will be what we start the episode off with. Next car to be joined, actually, probably be best for me to remove the entry, just so it doesn't land on it again. So we'll just do that real quick. Okay, so the Viper is now taken out of the wheel, so it can't get picked again. So where are we gonna land next? We got the Mazda 787B requested by Fabinator. So that will be the, oops, left that Twitter open. That will be the next car we put into the mod showcase after the Viper, and let's give it one last spin to see which will be the third and final car to be joining the list of cars. We've got the Porsche 944 Turbo suggested by Sander997. So that is the list of cars that we'll be doing in this episode. We got the Viper GTS by Viper Racing, SRT, the 787B by Fabinator, and the 944 Turbo by Sander. So those are the cars we'll be using, so let's go straight to Most Wanted done. And we're back here with our first car, of course, as was picked by the wheel, is the SRT Viper GTS, suggested by Viper Racing. And I must say, because of course I take a look at all these cars before I start actually doing the videos, this car definitely impresses me because it's got a lot, and I mean a lot, of customization options. I mean, we got 5 body kits here, and they all look really nice. Like some nice, proper-looking body kits that's really to kind of fit the theme of the game. I'm going to personally go for the 4th body here because it's a nice, proper wide body. We're skipping spoilers because they're actually listed in the hood section. As you can probably see, there's, like several kinds of different spoilers in here, including this one, which I think looks pretty nice and kind of goes with this body kit a little bit. But there is an almighty wing option or the closest thing to an almighty wing option, so we're gonna go with that almighty wing. And let's go with that. So yeah, you can definitely change the visuals on this car, which is very nice. Now, paint wise, of course, what Viper would be more complete without, of course, the famous blue with white stripes. I will actually show off, though, there are some unique stuff to it. Like, if you go to Unique 1, you get full-on proper stripes for this, like you would with a Viper. And Unique 2, I don't recall seeing this. Now, this may be not a very good color to show it off in, so I'll try to zoom in here. It actually looks like it's got its own custom unique vinyl for the car, which is really cool. So it's, it makes it a little more interesting. Now, I'm personally not going to go with it because I'm a blue with white stripes sucker for the Viper. So, and then if you kind of want a little more bit of an accurate blue, there is some of these unique custom contest winners, one that are just replaced with like color palettes that you can't really get. So they're more accurate to the actual car. But alas, I'm sticking with my pick here because I want to keep those white stripes, And of course, as always, the window tint, you can do that too, as you would expect. But yeah, I really like the way this Viper looks, just with this body kit style and the almighty wing and the blue with white stripes. It looks fierce, and it looks like a really nice car. But is it really nice around the track? Well, that's of course is the big question. To get this sort of idea of just how well this Viper is going to go around, we're taking it to the Petersburg test track like we do for every car, give them a few laps to go around the track, get as fast of a lap time as we possibly can, and that will of course be registered to the leaderboard. Now, the one interesting thing I should note about this Viper is if you like the newer style Viper, but you want to also keep the older style Viper, that one that's already exists in this game, to show a bit of comparison sakes, this particular Viper mod that I'm doing does not replace the SRT 10 Coupe. It rather replaces the Mercedes-Benz SL 500, which is a bit more of an interesting choice, but I do generally like that because it means you can have Viper SRT 10 versus SRT Viper GTS. Now, the one thing I'm noticing right away is it's not exactly the quickest of cars, and interestingly enough. It's taking a little bit more time to get it up to speed. I mean, it's, of course, it still do over 200 miles an hour, but it's taking a bit more speed. And plus, it's, you gotta really be careful with these corners, because it seems to be, it's not the most responsive or grippy. I don't know, I mean, maybe, I suppose maybe some of the ideas for these modders is to try to make the cars drive a little more realistically. But in a game like this, I personally just don't think that that mixes very well, because it mismatches a lot of things, and it's, yeah, I'm not particularly very huge on that. So unfortunately, it looks like the Viper here may not get a very high time on that leaderboard simply because it seems to have a more realistic approach to the actual car. But you know, alas, that's what you kind of have to settle with here. So you either go for really cool looks and somewhat a performance, or you probably find another Viper mod altogether, which there are several of these, including the next one that's coming after this, which is, of course, the 787B. There do exist multiple mods of the same car, so if a particular version of the car has not been done and you'd rather like to see that particular version of the mod, by all means, you're still allowed to request it. I'm always curious to know how some of the others do, and if you're curious too, then just send them my way, and eventually, of course, when they get picked by the wheel, I will show it off. So don't feel like, oh, this car's already taken, that means I can't suggest a different modded version of it. Of course you can. Just let me know. So yeah, we're looking at some pretty low times for this car, which really sucks. I mean, it's a Viper, man. A Viper should not be this slow. But it looks like the modder just made it try to go more for realistic speed-wise. And yes, by the way, I have put all the parts on the car performance-wise. Why wouldn't I? That would just wouldn't make a lot of sense. But I'm honestly looking at a car that's, crazily enough, could potentially be on the very bottom of the leaderboard, which it doesn't belong there, especially because Vipers, I especially don't belong there, especially if they kind of look like this thing. This looks like a real beast of a car. There's a really nice mod job done to it, but I can't get this thing around the track much faster. It just doesn't have a lot of steering capabilities and whatnot. It's really depressing, to say the least, but in the end, I'm not the one who made the mod, so don't get mad at me. I just get mad at the person who made the mod, because they're the one who made it perform the way it does. I mean, 102.43, that's down even on the 300ZX. So Mueller will probably be happy that his 300ZX will finally no longer be in last place. But still, a Viper doing this poor is just, I don't understand. I mean, when you got a car with mods that has a lot of modding, like you can add all these kind of designs and it looks great, like this body kit, again, I can't get over because it's just really good. You would think that there would be at least a little more love and input trying to put in the car to make it fast and quick and, you know, one step above all, but it's just not. It's kind of heartbreaking, to say the least. And, you know, I'm trying my absolute damnedest to try to get the best that I can get out of this, but man, the modder really dropped the ball on this one, I'm gonna have to say. No offense to the actual modder, but you know, a Viper should be much quicker than this. So yeah, all that and only a 102.06. Sorry, Viper Racing, it's not me, it's the modder who did this. He was responsible. Anyways, so despite that, that is one car there. But next up, of course, we may have something that's a little bit better. The Mazda 787B, one of the all-time great Group C cars. I believe this is Group C. To date, the only ever Le Mans car to win at Le Mans made by a Japanese manufacturer, with being Mazda. It's not perfect. It looks a little funky despite being a 2013 made mod, but you know, it has the proper 787B livery, so might as well. And I'm not really going to bother going through the modifications for this car because in hindsight, there's really nothing apart from window tint, and of course speedometer and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we might as well just head right into it and give the 787B its fair dues. And okay, sounds like a Viper, and has tires that don't stay in place. But oh boy, is it fast! Yeah, this doesn't look like it's a very well done mod by the looks of it, especially when you consider it's a 2013 mod. It sounds like a Viper, and it replaces the Lamborghini Murcielago. It's extremely mismatched. But hey, the car is damn quick, so... Although, again, here's one problem with the car. 6 gears? That's a bit wrong. 7 gears? Excuse me? Hello? What is this? Is this really a 787B? Because I'm starting to think this isn't a 787B. 787B shouldn't sound like a Viper, nor have like tires that bounce up and down like that, or be able to go, or have more than 5 years, or I don't know, be able to go with speeds of like over 280 miles an hour. This isn't Fiat 1000 TC Abarth fast, but it's... Oh god, and the sun, where was that sun snap oversteer? That was really strange. But this car is, yeah. I'm almost tempted to get out the other 787B car mod that I've seen for this game just to see how that one compares, because there's just things about this particular one that don't bode well with me. Because 7 gears is just strange, because 5-gear car in real life, plus tires bouncing up and down, and of course speeds of managing to go with speeds on this track over 280 miles an hour. It's very strange to say the least. But hey, it's fast at least, so if you like overly fast cars, this probably will be something you'll enjoy to drive. It's really silly though, to say the least. I mean, I personally just don't understand what's going on here with why the car... I mean, the one thing too is that this car has like no reflection or nothing. Only on like the headlights and the windows. And this was released in 2013, this mod. The other 787B mod I've seen dates to 2009, and it seems to be taken from Race Driver Grid, which means that I think it lacks the the well-known number 55 renowned vinyl green and orange vinyl scheme, which looks phenomenal with this car. But it's... I don't know. I'll have to try that one out, I guess, at some point. It may make a bit of a bonus, or unless someone else requests it before I ever get to it, who knows. It's strange to say the least. But this is certainly something, because the fact it sounds like a Viper, tires bouncing 280 miles an hour plus. I mean, on a long enough straightaway, this thing could probably hit over 300 like the Fiat did here. Though the Fiat, it was just ungodly levels of that. Just I'll be surprised if anything manages to beat that. That's at least, yeah. But and look at that, we're just skidding sideways through the finish there. Ain't that something? But yeah. So this is a car, and it did a 45.21 second lap time as its best time. So wow. Anyways, one more car to go here, and that's the Porsche 944 Turbo, which I can't really do much with the design. One of the only things I can do apparently is if I put this hood on, it makes the windows go down, which is a little weird. The wheels are also incorrect, and yeah, and it can't put vinyls on it. At least I can paint the thing, so yeah, it's kind of disappointing that there just generally isn't that much for this car, because the 944 Turbo is a fairly interesting car. And I in fact, because of that, I don't actually know what I want to put on the car. I could easily just stick with that red, but I think I'm going to go for this more darker red. Kind of like this a little bit more. And yeah, Windows tints obviously work, so hey, that doesn't really seem to change too much. So yeah, not much I can really do with the 944 Turbo here. That's just how it is. So, well, regardless of that, let's just... Oh, whoops, that's the wrong thing. Regardless of that, let's just go ahead and take this to Petersburg and get an idea on what exactly it'll be doing time-wise. So, yeah. It also seems to be a bit more raised, too, which is a little bit interesting. I mean, not that I'm complaining, but So this car replaces the Porsche 911 Carrera S, as I think I already mentioned. And the modder did mention it tends to have pretty much similar performance. So I'm honestly expecting this car to get around the sort of time that the Carrera S actually did itself. So I won't be surprised if that's the case. Although this honestly kind of feels like it has better handling than the Carrera S. I mean, it feels like it's just that little more sharper. So yeah. Again, though, I still can't get over the fact that we have a Viper that's way too slow than it should be, with all the maximum parts put on it, and then we have a 787B that sounds like a Viper. This has been a very strange episode, and then of course we finally have a 944 with incorrect wheels, and again, not very much you can do to visually, because all I can really do is paint that one thing with the windows and window tint. Oh, it seems to be a co-driver, like a passenger in this one. Like, that's an interesting addition to the model of this car. But hey, I'm not exactly complaining. I don't know. Ever since that Viper, I've just kind of in a bit more of a downer mood, because that thing should have not been as slow as it was, but I couldn't push it any much more than that with my skills. I mean, if I was to just go all out and try to master it, I could probably get it a little bit closer to the 300ZX, but that's about it. Excuse me, there isn't really much that I could do, and it just really drags me down. At least, to be fair, the 944, I'm gonna be honest, is the most interesting to drive out of 3, because it feels nice and smooth and stable, not ridiculous or anything like that. And it's at least modeled a lot more properly, minus the wheels. But I don't know. It's a very particularly strange episode where you have two cars that I love, the Viper and the 787B, and a car that I at least can admire, the 944. And out of all of them, the 944 is the one that I'm liking the most. I mean, the Viper, when it comes to the visual stuff, of course the Viper wins by a landslide, because it's really the only one that had any in the first place. But this is, interesting, where the car that I least expected to be my most favorite of the bunch is my most favorite of the bunch. It's a very strange episode today, and, what can you do with that, I suppose. But hey, I mean, I do genuinely like the way this car drives, so I'm okay with that. I mean, as long as there's a car that can be okay to drive. And also, I think I just realized I forgot to change my settings. I might have forgotten to change my OBS studio settings back to, my regular bitrate that I've been doing with this series, so this may look a little worse than some of the other videos, so I apologize for that. I'll fix that in the next episode. But it was because I was trying to stream with it before, and so I had changed around the settings to make it more optimized for that, but alas, I might have realized it too late that I forgot to change that back. So if this looks a little funky, if this episode does look a bit funky, I apologize, but, that will be improved on, and sometimes stuff like this happens. It just kind of happens in the back, and you just kind of have to deal with it sometimes, because there's so much things you can look over and take care of that but sometimes it'll slip up, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I've slipped up multiple times. So you just gotta run with it and try to learn from there and improve on it. So. But yeah, generally, the 944 has been the most interesting car to drive of the bunch, and I'm generally okay with that because it is a nice car. And look at that. A 55.80 second lap time on that final lap is a pretty respectable time for this car. So yeah, there we go. Now, of course, that means it's on to the leaderboard. And as we come to the leaderboards, it should be to no surprise that the winner, or the fastest, I guess, of the three today was the Mazda 787B, which takes the runner-up position in second place with a 45.21 second lap time. It's still not quite on the pace of that ridiculous 1000 TC of Barth, but it's still a very overly fast car in its own right. Down a little bit into 20th place is the Porsche 944 Turbo with a 55.80 second lap time, which puts it a whole 4 positions higher than the car it replaces, the 911 Carrera S, it's a little bit of an improvement. Beats out as well Cayman S, Corvette C6R, and Volkswagen Golf GTI by a little bit. A little bit down, though, on the Cobalt SS and Corvette C6. And finally, of course, sadly, triggeringly, in last place at 54th place is the SRT Viper GTS with a 102.06, making it only the third car in the list to have a time that's over a minute, and is some ways down on the Nissan 300ZX. Kind of ironic too that it also replaces the SL500. Are we going to be seeing a pattern here? So sorry, Viper Racing, you didn't do anything wrong by choosing this. It's just a modder who made this car. So honestly, fantastic customization with poor execution. I'm gonna get up a bit. Where is it? A bit of a slight improvement over its replacement, and generally nice car. And basically Satan on wheels, but just like Satan's brother or younger son, because the 1000 TC is still ludicrous. Anyways, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll take 3 more cars around the track, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and take care.